Perek Kuf Lamed Zayin, the 137th chapter of the book of Tehillim, is one of the more famous chapters. Al Naharot Bavel, Sham Yashamnu, Gam Bachinu, Bizochrenu et Zion. So by the rivers of Babylon, we sat and we wept when we remembered Jerusalem. So a traditional understanding of Tehillim, the most traditional understanding is these are the books of David, words of David. So they say that this is a chapter that was written with prophecy for the future. Many more, even Orthodox people believe that this was obviously written later. It's talking about following the destruction, hundreds of years after the life of David. The Jews have come out to Babylon after being destroyed by the Babylonians, the year 586, destruction of the first temple. And we're sitting there and we're crying and we're weeping. Al aravim betocha talinu kinurotenu. There are poplars, we hung up our lyres. Kisham she'elunu shovenu divrei shir v'tololenu simcha shiru lanu mishir tzion. Right, so all of a sudden we see poplar trees and we're hanging up our instruments on them. We're not singing anymore. How can we sing? How can we sing on this in this foreign land? And verse 3 began. What happens is it's like they're being tormented. We just destroyed you. We just killed you. Now be my little toy and sing for me. Sing us a song of Zion. Sing us a song. Talk to show us how you used to play your instruments in the temple and sing and dance and be joyous. But the Jews say back, Eich nashir et shir Adonai al admat nechar. How can we sing the song of God on foreign soil? How can we do such a thing? We've been exiled. God doesn't want our song, one might say, because we've been exiled. But more so, you're tormenting me. You're embarrassing me. You're asking me to do something that I can't do. I can't physically do that. This is a song of Tzion. This is a song in the Beit HaMikdash. This is Hashir Sha'aleviyim Omrim Beit HaMikdash. These were the songs that we sang. How are we supposed to sing when we are exiled? And the rabbis later on, the aftermath of destruction, the second temple, they also said that that you shouldn't drink wine and you shouldn't have any music. And eventually, they, of course, they go away from that, and they do, of course, eventually build houses, and then they celebrate and they drink wine and they eat meat. So. This is the first exile, and this is sort of that sentiment comes from this. How can we possibly do it? It's not only that we're unable and unwilling, we just can't. It's not possible. And now we continue verse 5 and verse 6, perhaps the most famous of all the verses. Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini tidbak lishoni lechiki im lo ezkarechi im lo a'alet Yerushalayim al rosh simchati. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither. Let my tongue stick to my palate if I cease to think of you. If I do not keep Jerusalem in my memory, even at my happiest time. And seemingly here between 4 and 5, there is like a time lag. The end of 4, we're saying, I can't sing songs on the alien soil, in the foreign soil. How can I sing by the rivers of Babylon with Jerusalem destroyed? But 5 and 6 seem to express somebody who is singing. And of course, we know these songs as tunes. There are tunes that we know. It's tunes of lament at the happiest time under the chuppah. But right, if I forget you, Jerusalem, let my right hand wither. This is somebody, let's say, who plays, I'll take it today, forget the lyre, plays the guitar. You're not going to be able to play the guitar if your right hand withers. And the same thing, you won't be able to sing if my tongue sticks to my palate. So they have accommodate, for whatever reason, they have decided to sing. Presumably it's not the same day or right at the beginning of the exile. It's 20 years later, 50 years later, whatever it is. But even though I'm now singing these songs, I'm expressing that I can't possibly forget Jerusalem, that I have to go up to Jerusalem when I am at my happiest moment. Now, going up might be literal, and going up might be emotional and thought process. Not everybody can just go at a wedding, at a time of simcha, go up to Jerusalem, especially back then when it was destroyed. But here are these musicians, perhaps the Levites from the Beit HaMikdash. At first we couldn't sing, but it's years later, we're still in the Golah, we're still in Bavel, Yirmiyahu, the prophet Yirmiyahu Navi has told us to build houses. We're going to be there for a time period for 70 years. And so we're there for a time period, and we're going to have weddings, and they're going to be bar mitzvahs, and they're going to be times of great joy. And yes, so we will sing. We will play our instruments. We'll sing our famous songs. But if I forget Jerusalem, I won't be able to play my instrument. My right hand will wither. If I forget Jerusalem, I won't be able to sing because my tongue will stick to my palate. Zechor Adonai livnei Edom et Yom Yerushalayim Amrim Aru Aru Ad HaYisod Ba. Remember God against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem's fall, how they cried, strip her to her very foundation. We talked about this in the different books earlier, in the books of Yirmiyahu and I believe Yechezkel, where the Edomites are cursed greatly because of the way they acted. And we don't exactly see where it is, but here we see it, that when Jerusalem's being destroyed, Edom is screaming, destroy her completely, embarrass her. But Bavel hashiduda ashrei Elimelech et mulech shegamalta lanu. And fair Babylon, you predator, right? So fair, this conqueror, a blessing on him who repays you in kind what you have inflicted on us. That is to say, revenge to you. We will bless whoever curses, whoever destroys you. And it happens in 539, I believe, when Cyrus the Great conquers Babylon. All they have to do is open the gates. They don't even have to, he doesn't have to fight a battle. Ashrei sheyochez v'nifetz et ololayich el hasel. A blessing on him who seizes your babies and dashes them against the rocks. A very, very difficult passage, very, very very explicit and very violent and very angry. And presumably this is reflecting what was done to the Jews, that their babies were taken, their babies were just thrown and heads smashed against the rocks. And when something like that happens, it's very hard to simply simply do nothing about it. Now, the place where we have this actually mentioned in the Tanakh is not with Bavel, it's with Aram, where where Elisha tells Chazael, who will be the king of Aram, which will attack the Jewish people. It says there that he's going to put their young men to sword and dash their little ones into pieces and rip open their pregnant women. That's one of the places where we sort of have this most explicit mention of this idea. It's not actually with Bavel, but this is where it is. Where it's mentioned here. And so we see this chapter here. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of vengeance. There's a lot of difficulty. This is a people that have been destroyed. Their city has been destroyed. And now they're being mocked further. Sing songs. Play for us. Play for us, you captive. And we can't. Over time, we will be able to sing songs. We'll be able to return to think about Zion, to think about Jerusalem, to think about the songs we sang in the Beit HaMikdash. But even when we do it, it has to be with the recognition of Jerusalem. We cannot forget Jerusalem. And so still to today, we know this. Still to this day, whether you're at a wedding and the chuppah is overlooking the old city, or in the old city overlooking Har HaBayit, or whether you are in, I don't know, the South Pole or wherever it might be, as far away as you can get, we still say these words, these very words, that we must remember Jerusalem, remember what it represents, the idea of God's temple, the idea of the Jewish people living in peace, the idea of a closeness to God, of the moral compass of which God represents. And so we still remember it to this very day. Now we know it's not, if you look in next time you look at a bench or next time you look at Birkat HaMazon, you'll see that during the week it says, people say Al Na'arot Bavel, and on Shabbat and Yom Tov, they say Shir HaMa'alot, about the return to Zion. I don't know many people really do that. Al Na'arot Bavel. Perhaps some people do it only around the time of Tisha B'Av. But this is a very fascinating capital of Tehillim that seems to be moving around the diaspora and asking questions of us that we could ask ourselves about how we are supposed to act in the diaspora, how are we supposed to remember Jerusalem, and how are we supposed to think about those who have caused our nation so much trouble, so much suffering, so much pain.